Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the Navy and Marine Corps families out there, you sacrifice a lot for this country, and we appreciate it. I think those two services, families are torn apart in terms of deployment, so it's not lost upon me the sacrifices of the families. And General Smith, we need to take care of our families in the Marine Corps and the Navy. The Navy fleet goal for battle force ships is 381 manned, 134 unmanned, for 515 fleet size. Ms. Secretary, is that the right number still?
Thank you for the question, Senator. I know very important to you. One, I should just make, we're currently at 292, not 293, just so I get that on the record. Look, we are still, I am working through those numbers and trying to get to those numbers.
We don't know yet. You're going to get back with us about, is that still the
I'm
right?
going to get back to you as to what the right number
Okay,
is.
great.
Sir.
Let's say for a moment that was the right number. When can we expect to have all this stuff built? In the next 10 years?
That's another one I'm going to have to get back to you. I think it'll be
That's
very
fine,
hard.
that's fine, because the reason I asked that, I don't know if it's the right number, I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I know this, that China has 400 ships, and by 2030, they're gonna have 435. So we need to get on with it, and it's really not blaming you, it's just a system. And we need to have a goal and get to it like the Manhattan Project. I'd like to have a pot of funding for the Navy outside of the budget top line so we could get this done, because we're never gonna get it done in the top line. So if it's important to us as a nation, we'll give you more money and more flexibility. Budgets are based on threats. Is that right, Admiral?
I hope so, sir.
Well, they better be, because
sir.
we don't want to make it a jobs program. Let's look at the threats. Is Iran a threat to the United States?
I believe it is.
Okay, I do too. The Russia-Ukraine conflict, does that matter to the United States in terms of how it ends?
I believe it does.
Is China watching what happens with Russia regarding their invasion of Iran?
Yes, sir.
And how that ends could affect whether or not they invade Taiwan. Is that correct?
I believe so.
China has a pretty ambitious plan for the region and the world. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
ISIS and Al-Qaeda, General Smith, they're still out there, right?
They are, Senator.
Yeah, they want to come here and kill us if they can get here. Is that right?
They would.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's get back to Iran. Congratulations on the attack, Operation Midnight Hammer, and the Navy role in it. I disagree with my Democratic colleague. I think this was a necessary, effective, and quite frankly, brilliant, bold, long overdue effort by the United States to substantially degrade or destroy Iran's enrichment capability, which seems to be everybody's goal for them not to have a nuclear weapon. Well, you can't really have a nuclear weapon if you can't enrich, and so I support that. But about negotiations and the ceasefire. If the ceasefire leads to peace, it's a really good thing. If the ceasefire leads to rearming and regrouping of Iran, it's probably a step backwards. Does anybody know if Iran has changed its regime goal of destroying the state of Israel? Has there been any indication they've abandoned that goal?
Not to my knowledge, Senator.
Has there been any indication they've abandoned the goal of dominate Islam and to attack Saudi Arabia as the leading Sunni state?
Not to my knowledge, Senator.
Okay. Is there any indication that they are less antagonistic toward us as a nation after the ceasefire? Yeah, a good answer, not to my knowledge.
It's not to my knowledge.
I agree with it, not to my knowledge. The only reason I mention all this is that we're asking Israel to sit down at a table with people who have it in their equivalent of the Constitution to destroy the state of Israel. How do you negotiate with somebody who writes down in their founding document, we want to kill all the Jews? So what I'm asking our country and the world to understand is if we can get peace, that would be great. But the only way you're really going to have peace is for the regime to change its behavior. either through personnel or ideology. And I just want to say this very clearly. Until Iran renounces their regime goal of destroying the Jewish state, until Iran recognizes the right of Israel to exist as a nation and the Jews to exist as a people, we're nowhere closer to peace than we were before. The capability of Iran to enact their agenda has been greatly reduced. Hats off to President Trump and our military. But until their desire changes, we need to stick with Israel and understand who we're dealing with. Thank you.